So Jeremy Corbyn has been removed from his position. The whip has been withdrawn from the Labour Party, and therefore it's looking like that he will not be allowed to run as the Labour MP in Islington North, and probably will run as an independent. And you should go vote for him if you live in Islington North. I will happily continue to support Jeremy Corbyn to continue having his seat as an independent, so that potentially he may be able to rejoin Labour at a later time. I don't really care. He serves his constituents well, and that's what's important. What this does mean, however, given that he won't be allowed to run as the Labour candidate, it's almost certain that there's going to be a Labour Party candidate running against him in the Islington North constituency. There have been some names that have been kind of bandied about as potential people to replace him as the Labour MP, and there's going to be, as always, a CLP contest of the prescribed allowed people to be selected from the CLP. There was some private NHS provider, CEO Praful Nagand, I think his name was, who was slated to be a potential candidate. Great. Somebody from private healthcare getting a position as a Labour PPC. Completely unsurprising. But you know what's even less surprising, chap? You know what's even less surprising than some private healthcare CEO getting selected to fight against Jeremy Corbyn for the Labour Party? It's friend of the show, and Mr. Paul Mason. After standing in Pembrokeshire, after standing in Stretford and Urmston, and standing in Sheffield Central, and making up that he has ties to other people's places in this country, and changing parts of his bio to Welsh or whatever it was to try and make it look like he was from the area. He is now trying for a 4th seat, chat. He is desperate to be the Labour MP. For at least somewhere. It doesn't matter where it is. He'll make up some connection to the area anyway. But he has announced his desire to stand as the candidate in Islington North because he hates Jeremy Corbyn just specifically. I don't know why he's got this hate boner, but either way he does. Because he supports Keir Starmer's desire to make the moral case for socialism by becoming the Conservative Party in red rosettes. Let's see what Paul Mason had to say about his application for the selection as Labour candidate for Islington North. The scale of poverty in the borough, together with the acute crisis for private renters and the threats to local health services, mean Islington needs to be setting Labour's agenda in power, which isn't going to happen because the agenda for Labour in power is set by the Tony Blair Institute and Labour Together, who run Keir Starmer's leadership campaign that you supported and endorsed, that now means that there's no power within the Labour Party to challenge the neoliberal politics that the current leadership espouse. What are Labour going to do to solve the acute crisis for private renters with Starmer's leadership plans in mind? The current ones that he holds, not the ones he used to hold, the ones that he now holds. How are you going to fix local health services when Keir Starmer has already said that they're not going to help increase council budgets to deal with the fact that they're running out of money to deal with things like this problem? How are they going to deal with health services when they've already promised to increase private involvement in the health service? So you're not going to set any agenda. This is nonsense. It's funny how he keeps losing because you think he's perfect for Starmer's Labour. The thing is that all of these Labour rightoids standing for seats, they all keep losing. Paul War lost in the Rochdale by-election selection. In my constituency, Anna Joy Rickard from the Tony Blair Institute, she lost, went to another constituency, lost again. The guy who was standing in Liverpool, the guy from the Tony Blair Institute, who attacked Liverpool as being full of criminals or whatever, unsurprisingly, he lost the selection as well. Local CLPs don't want this, because local CLPs are full of people who vote for Jeremy Corbyn to be leader. So they hate people like Paul Mason, actually, who support the right-wing project of the current leadership. And what's crazy for him, after all of this, to say, I worked hard for Jeremy Corbyn while leader, and I hope to build on the decades of tireless work he's done for local people by replacing him, apparently. If he's done so well to work for the local people, why do you want to replace him, Paul? I backed Keir Starmer and took part in his leadership campaign in 2020 because I knew he could put us where we are today, on the brink of a Labour government that will give Britain its future back. Allegedly. We'll see about whether or not copying the Tories word for word will give Britain its future back. Answer on a postcard, please. Throughout the selection process, I'll do my best to keep the Labour and trade movement in Islington united around our common goals. Delivering Keir Starmer's 5 missions. Well, I mean, first, right off the bat, Keir Starmer's missions are nothing to do with how he was selected or the common goals of the trade union and labour movements. Again, especially not since the missions don't even have necessary moving parts that are aligned with those goals. You could get the biggest growth in the G7 by giving a bunch of money to the financial sector to play around with. That's not part of the trade union or labour movement goals. That's Keir Starmer's mission, to get growth in the G7. No plan to deliver it. Doesn't make any sense. And on top of that, enacting Labour's New Deal for working people, that's been scaled back, despite how much Sharon Graham wants to have her wallet inspected over it. They're consulting with businesses over it. I'm sure they'll be very happy to do so, given all the money they've given to the Labour leadership currently. And a comprehensive partnership with Europe to reverse the most damaging aspects of Brexit is the opposite of the Keir Starmer platform. He's literally saying make Brexit work. That's not true. Not that I care, well, you do whatever you want with the European Union policy. I'm more broadly, interested in macroeconomics and social policy than I am about Brexit policy. But this is just not true. It's not true. They were asked about closer alignment with Europe, the European Union. Even when they tried to discuss it, the EU turned them down about relitigating Brexit. We have our deal. Let's get on with the job. It would be an honour and a privilege to represent this community, to build on the work of its brilliant grassroots organisations, and fight for the Labour Council to get the resources it needs, except it won't do because Keir Starmer's rolled that out. I've covered politics and economics for decades, and I now know how the system works, and how to use it to deliver on the vital issues faced by working people here. I'm a trade unionist, a campaigner for social justice, a UK champion for the Fossil Fuel Non-Proliferation Treaty, and a lifelong anti-racist. Unless, of course, it's supporting the racist project of Zionism, but that's a story for another time. I'll use my skills and experience to make sure the Labour delivers for the people of Islington North. This guy, right? This guy, the most famous Trotskyist in the entire country. And now what's he become? A snivelling apologist to right-wing Labour politics, to the removal of what he was just describing as being the radical economic programme that he wanted to see Keir Starmer support. Like, we watched him on Times Radio debating with Matt Zarb-Cousin about the radical programme that Labour had bringing to the table. What radical programme? Radical austerity? Radical decreased taxes on the rich? Radical lack of proper investment? Radical extra privatisation in the NHS? Underway streeting? Like, what's radical about any of this, Paul? Radical centrism basically is the point that we're at here. Who does he think that he's deluding? But again, this man just wants political power, and he's attached himself to the Starmer project because he believes that it will advance the class struggle through social democratic Marxism, or whatever he means, whatever he's talking about. Because he's a rube. He's either a rube or he's just a grifter. Let's be real, right? Because at the end of the day, we all remember him trying to denigrate anybody to the left of Gerhard Schroeder as being supported by Russia and funded by Russia. We've all seen the leaked mind map of him linking everybody to like Russian assets or whatever, Peter Jukes style. But he's just totally bought into this idea that he can smear everybody on the left. He can essentially have the position of trying to say everybody on the left is bad. We have to support NATO. We have to support nationalism. Like, we have to reject internationalism. We have to accept watered down economic proposals and reactionary social policy. And suddenly this is going to be the moral case for socialism. But I guess at the end of the day, I just don't understand social democracy from a Marxist perspective. I guess I just don't. I don't know what's funnier, chat. What is funnier? Let me know in the comments. What would actually be funnier? Paul Mason running to be the candidate and then losing for the fourth time. Again, it's the fourth time he's run to be an MP at different constituencies in different parts of the country. All of these different claims to being linked to this area, regardless of whether it's Wales, Manchester or London. A fourth time, and then trying to be an MP and being rejected by yet another CLP. Or is it funnier for him to run as the MP, as the Labour Party MP, and then get absolutely trounced by Jeremy Corbyn? Like, I think the second one is funnier, because we all know a bunch of the PPC selections are all just stitch-ups now anyway, so him losing or winning isn't particularly materially funny. But him talking about how much he loves Jeremy Corbyn, but he hates the policies, but also it's good, but also it's bad, we need to build on the record by being less radical, and then just getting absolutely trounced by Jeremy Corbyn anyway, now I think that's funnier. I think that's funnier. Him losing to Jeremy Corbyn is funnier, but let me know what you think in chat and in the comments below. He is tragic. If you enjoyed the video, make sure that you like and leave a comment. That helps the video out in the algorithm. If you subscribe and ring the bell, it'll let you know when I go live. I stream every day on YouTube and Twitch. You can also follow all of my socials down in the description. And if you want to support me in a more financial manner, there's a join button for membership to just 99p to be a member on YouTube, as well as a Patreon, and there's some merch there as well. And hopefully I'll catch you on the next video. Take care.